The waves just keep rolling in this glorious life of existence that we are dancing through in this eternal dance. My name is Darren and welcome back to my channel. I have been very ill this last week. Quite often when an illness, a darkness, a shadow appears in life, many of us are clinging on to what we know as real, or clinging on to feeling better and doing whatever we can to get out of the darkness and the shadow as fast as we can so we can be right as rain and get back on life, get back on the job, get back on and doing whatever we're doing in the constructs of our egoic separate identities. I've sat with enough medicine, been in enough ceremonies over the course of my life, real medicine, not the stuff from the pharmaceutical industries, to trust so deeply that when I am taken into something, that there's something beyond me that's holding me, that really is me too. And that whenever I go into the shadow, I'm always guided back out of it. Some people who live with the labeled depression for decades of their life or years of their life haven't learned to let go enough to swoop back out the other side into the light again. They've held themselves into a grid of the depression. And they're still holding on, I don't want it to get worse. But actually, ironically, if you let go and feel what's there, you do come out the other side. And the first time that I learned this lesson was when I actually sat with Ayahuasca about 8 years ago in South America. And I so vividly remember one of the first visions that I saw in the ceremony was the appearance of all these witches around me. Now, clearly there weren't any real witches in physical life. I'm talking about the moment where sound turned into touch, which turned into visions. So sound from the shaman was rattling the colors playing in front of my face. It was like this sensory, multidimensional sensory emergence of what I thought was the natural building blocks of life, all the senses separate, all somehow merged into one as I come to the seeing that it is all just energy dancing around, and we create the illusions of separation in our physicality. And in the ceremony, as I'm surrendering into the medicine and trusting what's going to happen, not really knowing what trust was back then, but there isn't really much else you can do when you're overly stimulated by such glorious medicine from the earth. I just remember looking around and just seeing witches all around me in my third eye, right? And they were all around me, and like crooked, scary witches with warts on their face, straggly old hair, old ladies, like wise old women. And I remember at one point feeling like the ethereal realm where I was watching the witches, it's as if they peered into the 3D world and tapped me on my shoulder. It was such a creepy, vivid experience that it was like just the third eye imaginary world appeared in my sensory experience of this body. And that was trippy. And it made me jump. I remember looking around and seeing like a witch's face like right here, and the wave of fear that washed through me at that moment was quite something. But the wave of fear arrived. Come. And I do remember allowing myself to say yes. And I didn't want to initially. I didn't really understand why I would say yes to the witches who were saying, come, I have no reason to trust you. But I did. In the end, I ended up letting go. And it wasn't a letting go of the physical body. It wasn't a letting go, let's go, I will follow you, with words to the witches that were in my ethereal vision of like third eye experience. It was a letting go and a trusting of the holding and the gripping of my mind. And as I let go of the gripping of my mind and I surrendered the energy to the medicine and to the trusting of the visions that I was seeing, and the shaman that was playing the music circulating around me, I remember going into the shadow, into the darkness. And I remember being so frightened in this moment. One of the most frightening experiences of my life. I'm letting go. Oh, I'm letting go. Letting go is petrifying for most of the world that are holding on to who they are with their mind and don't know what exists in the field of love and God beyond themselves. When we let go, we are always held by something which is way beyond us. And as I let go, it's like I go, and I'm like, and I just remember just dropping, like tumbling down like a rabbit hole of Alice in Wonderland, just tumbling down, not knowing where I'm going, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing who I am, surrendering it all, tumbling to the point where all of a sudden there is emptiness and nothing, and I loop back around into, oh, I'm still here. Huh. Why was I so scared? This is one of the greatest lessons I've ever had in my life. Just the illusions that we have in our head about what's going to happen if what might happen? It's all just mind stuff, which is just made up of absurd separation. It's not real when we're thinking about it. Right? If there's a story associated with the feelings, let go of the story, feel the feelings, and allow the feelings to do what they need to do, but keep letting go of the story. Allow the feelings to do what they need to do. And they might take you into anger, they might take you into sadness, they might take you into whatever you need to be taken into, but they are just feelings. And then through the feelings, you come out the other side having met them, and then feeling lighter, clearer beyond them. And then the mind is clearer afterwards. Really, this is the greatest disease on planet Earth right now, is people gripping on, holding on with their mind and not knowing how to move through emotional planes, energetic planes. And some energetic planes are light, ethereal, very subtle, right? And the sensitives can tune in and play with them and channel energy and this kind of magic. Others are quite dense and very stuck, and they've got very stuck close to the matter and the tissue of the physical body. It's all energy, but some of it is subtler, some of it is denser. And there's different techniques and tools, right, and methodologies we use to release subtler energy from our energy bodies and to integrate and let go of denser energy in our physical body. There's many different tools we use. For me, I've held a lot of density, a lot of dense energy in my physical body. I suppressed a lot as a kid. Growing up in the 80s in Britain, right, a very mindy, controlling society that colonized half the world. We had to be very mindy, dominating to do that. So there was a lot of dominating myself, a lot of tightness inside myself that I had learned from my culture in Britain, which I've had to unravel in my actual tissue, which I started storing there when I was very young. Very little emotional intelligence, emotional awareness as a child growing up in Britain. And you could say maybe that's the same in many places around the world, but certainly in Britain. If we are all given our birthright of emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, how to move, transmute, alchemize on the emotional plane, we'd probably all be aware and awake in our teen years, right? But purposefully the schooling system does not allow us to do that. And there's been a lot of people that have tried to shift things in the schooling system for so long. But again, there are systems and institutions in place that at their density are from a different age and are still trying to grip onto the way things should be for controlling power, controlling people, controlling because inside them there is fear that if they don't control, what will happen? I think all leaders of the world should drop in with a shaman and do some plant medicine a few times before they were allowed to take up positions of power. But over the last week, as I was saying at the beginning of this video, I could feel I was going into something, right? I had diarrhea, I had a cough, I had a cold, I had chills in my body, fever, I had aches in my lower back. I had quite a journey of illness over the last week or so. But I kept trusting it. It wasn't like it's happening, it's okay. And I've created a life where I've created space for myself to dive into the ceremony of the shadow in me, to reveal what needs to be shaken out from my physical body from the old world. And to me, this is the greatest work, the greatest gift I can give the world around me, is my own healing. Right? People out there like doing cool stuff and building things and making stuff. No, the greatest gift I can give is to work on my ancestry, work on the lineage, work on the patterns and the behaviors that have been passed down the generations and has got to me, and I'm like, no more. This is where now light enters this ancestry, this path of DNA. And we let go of the old and we start fresh here as new earth. It's the greatest gift. Ram Dass says that. All I can do for you is to look after me, and all you can do for you is look after you, right? Or the quote's a bit off, but it's similar to that. So that's my message to you today, is to trust the shadow. To trust the shadow. A lot of people are like, I've got to go and do the shadow work. Go and do the shadow work. And yeah, there's something about being an advocate, standing for things, like it's great. Stand for something that you believe in, amazing. And I have too spent years swimming in the shadow and doing the shadow work. And I don't know if I need to hold on to doing the shadow work or just trusting that when some shadow wants to reveal itself, to listen to it. And the messages and the lessons are being shown to us all the time. Some people hold on to the light without wanting to go into the darkness and the density and the human experience, right? And some people are so in the human experience, they've forgotten the light, right? This is from the light above or the light inside their heart because they're so in the matter, right? Again, there's no right or wrong or good or bad. It's all part of the human experience. It's all part of the dance we choose as life. And what dance are you playing? Big part of the mystics in the Matrix community, which I am burgeoning and starting and nurturing right now, is for those of us that we know that we want to balance the two ends of this spectrum. That yes, we are the human and we are the spirit, and we're coming together. The human and the spirit coming together. We're not more that and we're not more that. We are both of those things. And sometimes we might lean towards spirit and forget our humanness, and then we remember to come back again. Or we might get a little bit lost in here, but then we remember the light again. Okay, great. It's like, how do we balance the beauty of both of these? Because we are both. And sometimes the rules or the teachings from each perspective are different. This is finite. It's a finite human experience bound by time and somewhat matter, and bound by certain physics, right? World of gravity on a planet hurtling through space, spinning at hundreds of miles an hour or thousands of miles an hour. I have no idea how fast we're spinning. And yet we also are the infinite, the spirit, the energy of everything all the time. At the depth of us, that's who we are. But we're both of those at the same time all the time. So how do we dance through both of these worlds? And how do we move and ride the waves of both of them in each moment, whether it's in the office or in the forest? We are it all. So let's not push either of those away. How do we bring the infinite into our conversation with our boss? How do we bring the humanness into our prayer? This is truly integrating the self, when we can be it all, the integration of the whole, the integration of the self. Can we be it all? And then as we allow ourselves to be it all, the finite and the infinite, all of it, how do we reveal ourselves and be of service to the world around us? To me, that's what the Mystics in the Matrix is really about. The balancing of the finite and the infinite, and then revealing ourselves in the world where we're valued for the beauty and the gifts that we share the world. Right? Because there's also a difference between just sharing lovingly, this is who I am, but then being met and seen with value, with money, in business. Oh yeah, I am seen in my mystical heart. This is how I present myself and offer myself, and I'm being rewarded for that. And then that's real integration, isn't it, between the all and the finite? Because in this finite world, we use money in order to move communion, to move in exchange with each other. We're not separate from it. Money is the web of relating that we have at this time space on this planet. Doesn't mean it has to be difficult, because it's not. It's just part of the oil, the grease, this golden syrup between us all. So if you're curious about the Mystics in the Matrix, click the button below. You're welcome to join. It's free right now. Other than that, what's alive in your world? I haven't posted in a week or so as I've been ill, but I'd love to hear what's alive for you if you're watching this video and still connected to the trip that's going on here. What's alive, what's happening, what stood out in this video, what did you take away, what didn't you agree with in what I said, what curiosities or questions might you have for me? Give me some inspiration for new videos. I am always down for listening and receiving ideas for what I could record or share perspectives on. In this moment, I'm going to head out to the local tribe's church, which we would describe as the ecstatic dance here in Ubud. Every Sunday morning, tribe comes together and we dance for 2 hours at Yoga Barn with an amazing DJ called Sophie So Free. You can actually probably search for her on YouTube if you wanted to. And when she plays her music, it's usually quite tribal, heart-centered, rhythmic, organic beats to get the whole being moving. Yeah, man, like her heart is just ebbing so much love. So I'm going to go and dance in tribe and in community this morning. Maybe drink a small glass of cacao before I arrive so my heart opens even more. And then this afternoon I'm checking out a house because I might be moving house closer to town, because where I'm living right now is actually up near these beautiful sacred water temples, as I've shared before, ancient Lemurian site, literally 5 minutes north of where I live, and the water streams down in my garden here, but I'm a little bit too far out of the local town, Ubud, and I'd like to be closer to town to allow the flow of life to move through me a bit easier. And I have been through my healing journey here for the last 2 years, and I'm ready to move beyond that and start sharing much more in tribe now. So, blessed beings, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of my journey here. I'm looking forward to sharing more, sending my love, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Peace out.